So, you have that special job interview and you want to get the job. What are some of the things that you need to know in order to land it? Hi, I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. Today, we're going to go over the different little nuances and things that you want to prepare for when you go and you have a job interview for an important job that you want to land. So join Eli and me as we go over the interview process. You know, Eli, over the course of my lifetime, I must have interviewed a couple of thousand people. And you know, people come in, they're so unprepared in many different areas. The first thing I want to talk about is you want to show up at least 15 to 20 minutes before the job interview. Frequently, there's going to be paperwork that needs to be filled out. So you want to be there to fill it out. You don't want to be rushed. You want to take your time. You want to relax. You want to get a lay of the land. You want to take a look around the office. You want to see the stuff that's going on. Actually, if you can even visit the office before you have the interview, that's a good thing to do also. All right. Let's talk about the way you dress. When people would come in and interview with me, I had one guy came in. This is when I was in San Diego. San Diego's a fairly casual place. He came in wearing a kind of a Hawaiian type shirt. Immediately I said, you know, he did mention on the phone to be professionally dressed and promptly on time. And he said, hey, this is San Diego. This is the way people dress. I said, okay, that's fine. I went through, I had the interview. Didn't listen to one word the guy said. If you can't follow the direction to dress properly, is that the type of person that I'm looking for? I don't think so. You know, you can't really overdress. If you go in and you're wearing a suit or you're wearing a fine dress or you know, very good business clothing, and people in the office are casual, that's fine. They won't belittle you for that. They may mention, you know, when, you know, if you get the job, we're not, you know, super, we're pretty casual around here, so you don't have to dress up in a tuxedo, all right? But when you go for that job interview, it's much better to overdress than to underdress, all right? That's one of the first things that people notice. You got to remember, you're there to make an impression, and when you're making the impression, the first thing that goes through somebody's mind is one of the lasting impressions. So that's kind of a critical thing. Second thing, when you present your well, before you even go into the office, one of the things that you want to do, and in today's times it's so much easier to do than it was back in the day when I was looking for work, is you want to research the company. You want to find out every little detail. You want to know their mission statement. You want to know what direction you're heading. You want to know a little bit about their past history. You want to know all of these little nuances, because that'll give you a flavor so that you can help to tailor your answers to be interesting to the people that are interviewing you. So, and the other thing is, when somebody would come in and they would know about my company, when they would know about the things that we did already beforehand, that showed me that they were very serious about getting that job, because they took the extra time to go and research and find out about the company. So that's, once again, that's another little thing that's very, very important to do. Make sure that you research the company before you go in. Another thing, when you go to work a lot of times for a big company, they can usually have a series of interviews. With the first interview that you have is with the HR people, the human resources people. Now you need to keep in mind when you're talking with the human resources people that they're not the ones that are going to do the actual hiring. Essentially what they are, they're the gatekeepers. All right, so what they do is they just kind of eliminate the chaff. All right, so that the people that they submit to the bosses, the people that are doing the actual hiring, are not wasting their time. Because I know when I did that, and that was, you know, one of the functions that you ask your people to do for you, when they would send somebody to me, I'd say, why did you send this guy to me? He wasted my time. The person's in no way, shape, or form qualified. Why are you sending him to me? That's why I have you interviewing these people, to eliminate those folks. I want to talk to real candidates. All right? So one of the things you want to remember when you're interviewing with the HR person, once again, is that they are not the people that are making the final decision makers. And they're going to ask you all sorts of different questions. One of the things you want to remember in any scenario, but especially in a job interview, is that the person that's asking the questions is the person that's in control. So you want to be in control. Now, one of the things, as an example, that they may ask you is, so what kind of a salary are you looking for? And then they're expecting you to give them some sort of a number. I always found that it was a much better response to say, you know, salary is of course very, very important, but what I'm a lot more interested in is my opportunity to grow. Does this company offer that type of an opportunity for someone like me? Because I'm looking to grow. Is this a growing company? Is that what you people offer? So turn the tables and then you take control by saying, yeah, well, it's important, but I'm much more interested in growth. Tell me about the growth of the company, because that's what I'm really interested in. Because really the first position that you have, hopefully that's not, when you go to apply at McDonald's, you don't want to be the guy that's the bun man or the French or the fry cook. All right, what you want to do is you want to be the manager somewhere down the road. So you're interested in growth, and that's the same with any company. Right? Make sure that your areas of interest are congruent, that they coincide with the same areas of interest that the company you're pursuing. Because if not, then all you're doing is you're taking a job, you're taking a job, you're taking a job. You want to find something where you have a good fit, where when you walk in the morning, you're going to be excited to be there. Also, make a note of how the people that are talking to you, what their attitudes are. You know, if when you're talking with them and they say, yeah, who's the next person? Is that a place that you want to work? Give some thought to it. Don't just take, the very first opportunity. That's not a smart thing to do. You want to go to a place where you can fit in, where you can grow, where you can advance, and where you can use your brains and you can move forward with it, not only financially, but also mentally. All right? You be thinking career all the time when you're going for your job interview. Now, when you do present your resume, some of the things that you want to have on your resume are ways that you have contributed to the growth of the team. I did such and such and such, and this enabled our team to reach this level, which was our main goal. You want to show that you're a team player, that you contributed to the team concept and to the advancement of the team. Very, very important. Also, if you have individual awards that you won, I was the Employee of the Month, I was recognized for this, those types of things you always want to make sure that those are on your resume. Now, sometimes you're going to, when you go for some of your first interviews, you want to have recommendations from people that are significant people. So you want to be talking to people that are leaders in industry, leaders in, religion, ministers, rabbis, preachers, people like that will say good things about your character. All right. So depending upon where you are in the job process, whether you've had a number of different jobs or if you're just starting out, those things matter, especially when you're just starting out. Now, one of the other things that you need to remember is that a lot of times getting the right job is a matter of timing. And I want to tell you a little story. Back in the day, right after I graduated from college, I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, and my goal, my objective, my burning desire was to be a teacher, history and English, and also to be a basketball coach. And I moved from the East Coast to California, and when I moved to California, there was tremendous growth at that time. So there were the school districts were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. As a matter of fact, one of the districts was hiring 400 new teachers. Unfortunately for me, there were 4,000 different applicants for those positions. And I was just, a puppy right out of college with my degree. The ink was still dry on my degree. So one of the things that I had, of course, on my resume was, college basketball player, high school, wants to be a high school coach, has the ability to do that. That's something extra. But also recommendations from people, from professors from the school where I was, and a hunger to work with an ongoing school district. But understanding that there was tremendous competition, 400 openings, 4,000 different applicants, you have to make yourself known to the people, and that's not always just the decision makers. I'll give you an example. I went around to this one particular school district. I had like a routine. I went around for, different school districts, and I stopped in for once a week. I'd go in and I'd say hello to the secretary. They call him administrative assistant, my mistake, to the administrative assistant. And when talking to the administrative assistant, I got to know her name. I would jot down what she was wearing. I would jot down what we talked about the last time. I wanted to be remembered by her, because a lot of times things come up at the last minute. Oh, we had an interview scheduled for this guy. He called, he can't make it, it's not going to make it. Can you schedule somebody else? If you're in the mind of that person that's at the desk, the gatekeeper, that works to your advantage. And that was how I got my first teaching job. The lady that was the gatekeeper, she knew me by name, and they had that exact scenario. And because I went by all the time, she knew I was very hungry for the job. And when that person that had the job interview canceled, they called me. I went in for the interview, and I got a job. Not the job I was looking for, but I got a job as a permanent substitute. And having been a permanent substitute at this particular school, they liked me there. One of the teachers was going to have a baby, and she requested that I be the person that take her place, and that's how I got a full-time teaching job. All right, but it starts at the beginning. So you have to keep all these different things in mind when you're going for the job that you want, that you have a burning desire to get. Sometimes getting the job is more work than the interview itself, in terms of getting the interview. So now another thing that I did was I have a relative, Jackie is her name, and Jackie has the reputation in the family of being somebody that's unbelievably good at getting jobs. She goes to an interview, she gets a job. She goes to an interview, she gets a job. So I thought I'd give her a call and find out if she had any little secrets that she wanted to pass along. All right, and I said, so tell me, because I was always from the point of view where I was the person doing the interviewing. And so I wanted to take it from the other direction, somebody that was interviewing for the job. What did she do? What made her special? Why did she always get the job? She didn't always keep the job, but she always got the job. All right. The first thing she told me was, I always prepare the night before. What I do is I lay out all my clothes, all my makeup, my hair products, all the things like that. I do all my preparation the night before, so in the morning when I wake up to go to the interview, I don't have to think about any of that stuff. Second thing I do is I visualize myself talking to the person. What questions are they going to ask me? And I kind of go over that in my mind, how I'm going to respond to it. So when I'm going for the interview, it's not really like the first time I'm having the interview. It's more like the second, the third, or the fourth time. So I visualize in my own mind what's going to go on. That way I'm a little bit more prepared. Okay, of course I walk in with a big smile and positive attitude, groomed correctly, not wearing proper business clothes. You would be surprised, Eli, how many times women would come into my office to interview and they would be wearing inappropriate, not business clothes. All right, and some people that's good, but in a business setting, if you're serious about your business, it's not so good. All right, so you want to be so where the person's judging you on your business acumen alone, not really on anything else. All right, you want you want to be groomed well, but not to the point where that's not a factor. People aren't saying, oh, look at their hair, look at his clothes, look at his pants, look at his shoes. That's not the questions. What you want to do is you want to be focused. You want to have a mind melding with the person that you're interviewing with. What else did Jackie used to do? Okay, I asked her about the resume because in the days when I was interviewing, one of the things we always were told, make sure that you have your resume on very, very nice paper so that your resume will stand out. And I asked Jackie, I said, is that something that you did? She said, no, that's not what I did. Here's what I did. I would go to the store and buy a little binder, and just a little thin binder, and I would put my resume and any other documents that I thought were appropriate, some awards that I won, some diplomas that I had, I'd put them all in the binder. So when I hand the binder, the person opened the binder, they see my resume, and then after they see the resume, if they want to look further, they see all the little things that I put in there in terms of awards and certificates and diplomas and things like that. And the idea being is you want your resume to stand out, not only with the content, but also physically. Now, sometimes the question comes up, and I was talking with one of the people on my on Project Eli team, and I asked, we were talking about this particular subject, the interview process, and she said to me, are you going to dispel the myth that a resume has to be only on one page? And I thought to myself, when I was doing the interviewing, I really didn't like a super long resume. 1 page, 2 pages at the most, is tops. But you don't want to have a resume that's like a book, because you just want to be concise. You want to point out your virtues, and you want to make your resume. You don't want to just have like one resume and have the same resume. If you're searching for particular jobs, you want to have your resume tailor-made for that particular company. And that's so easy today. When you have your stuff on the computer, you just can white out what you don't want and insert what you do want. Back in the day, that was a little more difficult. When you made resumes, you'd have to make 50 resumes and they were all the same. Now you want to take advantage of that. You want to tailor make your resume for the company with whom you're applying. What else did Jackie say? Oh, Jackie said that before she went in, she would always pray. And when she prayed, she would always give thanks that the opportunity was there, and pray to do a good job, and pray that the people that she was interviewing with were worthwhile people. And that always put her in a really good frame of mind. You want to have that super positive mindset, that positive mental attitude when you walk in, because when you walk in, they judge you on everything. And I would sometimes ask, when the administrative assistant, people would be sitting there, they'd be waiting, to come in to interview with me. After it was over, I would say, so tell me, what went on before the interview? So you're interviewing the second you walk in the door. I always consulted with my administrative assistant, anybody else that had contact with the different candidates, because they put on a show for you when they're in front of you, but sometimes they're off their guard when they're sitting there waiting to go in and speak one-on-one with you. So remember that the second you walk in the door, your interview has already started. So be prepared, pray, present yourself in a business-like manner, use a binder. One other thing. I asked Jackie, and I did this myself. And I asked Jackie, I said, now, after the interview was over, did you ever follow up? If you didn't hear from the people within a certain time frame, did you ever follow up? And she said, yeah. Okay, I did too. And that's always a good thing to do, is to follow up and ask to speak to the person, if you can. And say, I was in for an interview 2 days ago, and I was just wondering if there was any news, if there was anything you wanted to share with me, how are things going, so on and so forth. All right, and if you do talk to the actual person that is the decision maker as far as the hiring process is concerned, and they say, well, I'm sorry, we hired somebody else, always ask, maybe you can help me out, okay? I appreciate your time. Maybe you can help me out. Was there something more that I could have done, or was there something more that you were looking for that I was not able to provide, that your company was looking for in terms of the hiring process? Because I'm really anxious, and I really was looking forward to working with your company. But if there's something that you can help me with, I would very much appreciate that. Don't be afraid to ask that person that, because your name will stay in their mind. They'll hang on to your resume. I used to hang on to them. You hang on to the resumes. You don't take them and chuck them, as soon as you make the hire. You hang on to it because you never know what's going to happen. That person may come in, may be a complete bust, and then they go and they look at the next resume and they say, oh yeah, Jackie, she's the one that called back. Get Jackie on the phone, see if she's still available. All right? That happens, and Jackie told me that happened 2 or 3 times in terms of her getting the jobs. All right, so you have your first shot at the job, and then you have your second shot at the job. So make sure that you take it. All right. Well, that's our little how to get the job with the right interview 101, and I hope this helps you. My main piece of advice for you is, when you're going for a job, go for something that you love doing. Don't take a job at, unless you really love hamburgers, don't take a McDonald's job. Take a job with a company where you have interest, because then your enthusiasm is going to be genuine. And you know what? That comes through when you're talking to a candidate. You can feel that genuine enthusiasm. Those are the people that you want to hire. You don't always hire the person that has necessarily the most qualifications, because if you're a good executive, if you're a good business person, what you're looking for is, who is going to help me and the company, the team, grow long term. So keep that in mind. Have a genuine enthusiasm. The best way to do that is to focus for careers in areas where you have a genuine interest, where you want to grow. And because we never end our meetings on a philosophical note, thank you for being part of Charge Nation. Let's get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.